What's trending now?
Add them on Facebook.
Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that.
News and views from Belf's News Gallery.
We're learning more about the shooter who injured two people at Joel Osteen's megachurch in Houston. She apparently had a sticker with the word Palestine on her AR-15 that she used, so she's been identified, and I just personally, I don't like identifying mass shooters. She was wearing a black trench coat, and I mentioned the AR-15 with the phrase Palestine emblazoned on it, according to law enforcement. And police say that the shooter used multiple aliases, had gone by the name Jeffrey. She's a woman. Had gone by the name Jeffrey, and she had also had written a number of anti-Semitic comments that she had written. Whether she is, it certainly appears mental illness was at work here. But that's been a big story over the last few days. Also, John Kirby is being promoted. John Kirby is the spokesperson for the National Security Council. So Kirby has become the public face then, as you know, of the Biden administration's response to the Israel-Hamas war. And his new title is White House National Security Communications Advisor. So his new responsibilities, John Kirby, include overseeing communications coordination and then, you know, making sure everybody's on the same page. That's a big job. That is a big job. So, and then I love the headline on this story that I saw at PJ Media. Karine Jean-Pierre's babysitter gets promoted. I thought, well, no, okay, that's a great way to put it. Other stories trending this morning. Donald Trump is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to extend the delay in his election interference trial. And he continues to say he's immune from prosecution on charges that he plotted to overturn his 2020 election loss. So his lawyers filed an emergency appeal with the court yesterday. This is just 4 days after justices heard Trump's separate appeal to remain on the presidential ballot, despite the attempts by states to try to kick him off, claiming insurrection. So Donald Trump yesterday attended a closed-door hearing in a secure area of a Florida courthouse for a classified documents case. So Trump spent about 5 hours at the hearing yesterday in a highly secure room at the federal courthouse in Fort Pierce, according to the New York Times. So the session was said to have focused on a law that protects classified information from being disclosed in court. And that's why it was a highly secure room in which that took place. The president's 2024 campaign is now on TikTok. Even though Joe Biden and his administration have expressed national security concerns over TikTok, they banned TikTok on federal devices. But Biden's 2024 campaign going to TikTok, hey, we got to reach younger voters. Got to reach younger voters. The only way you can do that is on TikTok. That's what they're saying. Also, Donald Trump has endorsed a former Navy SEAL and businessman, Tom Sheehy, in the Montana U.S. Senate race. So he's a supporter of Trump's. He's a member of the conservative House Freedom Caucus. Or excuse me. I want to back up a bit. My eyes got too far ahead here. Matt Rosendale. So this guy that Trump is endorsing, he's endorsing Tim Sheehy over Representative Matt Rosendale. And Rosendale is a supporter of Trump's. He is a member of the House Freedom Caucus. But Trump said of Tim Sheehy, he said he's an American hero and highly successful businessman from the great state of Montana. He is strongly supported by our incredible chairman of the NRSC, Steve Daines. That's the National Republican Senatorial Committee. And Trump said, as well as other patriotic senators and Republicans who have endorsed our campaign to make America great again. So Trump putting his weight behind Tim Sheehy over Representative Matt Rosendale. President Joe Biden, according to the Times of Israel, the headline says, Biden reportedly fed up with Netanyahu, calling him over his management of the war. So NBC News reported this yesterday that President Biden has been expressing his exasperation with the prime minister in private conversations, even calling him a blank, but is not about to make any major policy changes. So they cited 5 people directly familiar with the president's comments. He's also been flummoxed by Netanyahu's rejection of deals that Biden thinks are a win for Israel. Netanyahu's not having any of it. And so Joe Biden responds with curse words. Speaking of President Biden, young climate activists, 21 of them, in fact, were arrested at the president's campaign headquarters in Wilmington yesterday. They pushed him to declare a climate emergency ahead of the 2024 presidential election. According to their leader, a 28-year-old who said young people are fed up and are calling on him to lead right now or lose. It's silly to assume that the young people are going to vote for you. Politicians work for us. We don't work for them, they said. RFK Jr. Is apologizing for the ad that ran during the Super Bowl on Sunday. So that ad was produced by a PAC that's supporting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So the ad was theirs. It was not RFK's. And he issued an apology on X to his family after some of his cousins publicly expressed their disapproval of the ad. So the ad was actually released by American Values 2024. And he wrote, I'm so sorry if the Super Bowl ad caused anyone in my family pain. And he explained it didn't come from his campaign, nor could his campaign have approved the ad per FEC rules. So he's apologizing to his family. They were bothered by the ad. Other stories trending this morning. An apparent bystander was killed and at least 5 others, including 2 teenagers, were injured when gunfire erupted on a subway train in New York. This subway pulling into a Bronx station during rush hour yesterday afternoon. According to police, at least 10 shots were fired. There was a a fight between two groups of teenagers that broke out on the train and resulted in total pandemonium, according to witnesses and police. 35-year-old man was killed after he was shot in the chest. And a number of others were also a 14-year-old girl, 15-year-old boy, 29-year-old woman, two men ages 71 and 28 were also shot. So they were hospitalized, but in stable condition. And they said, police said that we don't believe this was a random shooting. We don't believe this was an individual shooting indiscriminately onto a train. Also, an American woman has died in the crossfire of a drug deal at a popular Mexican beach resort. This happened earlier this month. So this incident resulted in the death of an alleged drug dealer from Belize and this American woman. She's a 44-year-old woman from Los Angeles. She's a native of Los Angeles. And she was killed in the midst of all that. Bob Edwards has died. Those of you who have appreciated Morning Edition on National Public Radio, Bob Edwards was a longtime host of Morning Edition. And he has died at 76 years old. So NPR's Susan Stamberg said Edwards' voice became a part of the morning routine for millions. He was Bob Edwards of Morning Edition for 24 and a half years, and his was the voice we woke up to. Also, researchers in North Carolina. This is weird. Have you seen this? They say something's fishy about the pregnancy of a stingray that's being held at the aquarium and shark lab because they say the aquarium does not have any male stingrays. So how did the stingray get pregnant? They're trying to figure that out. They don't know. There are two ways that the stingray, Charlotte, by the way, is the name of the stingray, may become pregnant, but they say they won't know which way until the pups are born. And also the northeastern United States has started issuing its first winter storm warnings across the Northeast and New England. And weather could really get nasty, especially in that area. We will, parts of our area will catch just a very little of this, but some. But the Northeast and New England preparing for up to 12 inches of snow. So winter storm watches have been posted. Winter storm warnings. We're talking about cities like Scranton in Pennsylvania, Monticello in New York, all bracing for severe weather that is headed their way. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery.